being skeptical of the merits of business coaching while being approached by a business coach, also finding out who is launching a negative campaign against your business online in comments and how to fight that, plus revisiting episode 10 and a question on raising your prices to attract new clientele. Business Questions Answered Here, episode 21. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I'm a personal and professional development specialist, and I have an MBA, and most importantly, I have made a lot of mistakes in over 20 years plus of working on and worrying about the management of my own small business and entrepreneurial endeavors. I would like to help you by allowing you to learn from my personal mistakes, plus my decades worth of study and research, and even some insights from other business people and entrepreneurs that I talk to all the time. To submit your question, please visit our website, businessquestionsansweredhere.com. Today's episode is sponsored by FreshBooks. More on our sponsor in a moment, but first, this week's first question.
Question number one.
Question number one comes from Lisabeth, and it reads like this. I have managed my own small business full-time for 3 years. I have the luxury of having a spouse whose job offers a stable salary and benefits, so my family can live without significant income from the business, but I'd like to see more positive financial results as a way to keep personal score. I was recently approached by a quote-unquote personal business coach after a local Better Business Bureau networking luncheon. While the services she offered seem helpful, I am leery of hiring her or any coach to work with me on my business, since they seem to be promoting themselves every time I check my social media, and I don't see much in the way of certification requirements or trackable results. I know these people are just trying to make a living, but is investing time and money with a coach worth it? Should I just keep doing research on the internet for articles that I can get myself for help? Now, all semantics aside in this answer, remember this is a podcast made by a person who is a business coach, or at least is selling his services and his time in business coaching. So, yes, I believe in investing in a business training and accountability coach so that you can find a great way to get your stalled business on track, or maybe get your business that's not even started, help you get your mind set on what you need to do to get things going. Now, the emphasis on this is always can be. Coaching can be a great thing for you. It can also be a wasted effort if the coach you have is not experienced enough to meet the demands of your particular business. And it can be wasted money if the coach is simply just giving out the same information that you, particularly Lisabeth in this question, are getting online and just doing yourself that isn't working. So if you're getting information that already doesn't work, that you're already getting for yourself, you're obviously wasting money for double information. Business coaching itself is not a scam, but there are plenty of scammers, liars, thieves, and lazy opportunists making real money in coaching. And there are plenty of the same types of people who are not making any money or making any progress in the business. But all they do is pay the cost of a nice website and some business cards, and bam, you can be in business. You can be a coach. You can just do it by just having the quote-unquote fake credentials, or not even fake credentials, just the ability to show something that says coach on it. And from there, if you know a little bit of something, you have the ability to coach someone. Now, the fact that this person was allowed to talk to people after a luncheon from the Better Business Bureau is probably proof that she's legit, or at least she has enough experience to be around and figure out what to do to get in the good graces of people at this luncheon. They would easily find out what she's doing and shoo her away if she was giving really bad advice. Who knows? That's basically what I'm seeing from just this basic encounter you get telling us right here. But the disclaimer, your experience may vary, pretty much always applies to all transactions, and you can only get a positive outcome from a coaching session when you put real effort into it and your coach offers great advice. We've already said that. If your coach doesn't know what they're doing, they can't give you good advice. Things will be a waste of time and possibly money. Now, if you are not sold on coaching now, I probably can't do that for you. But let's say you are now sold on the idea of coaching. You just need help finding a coach that really aligns with your goals. You're not quite sure that this lady you talk to is exactly who can help you out. There are networks in your town, in your business area, and essentially online where you can go through and find different coaches that may suit your needs. And if you're looking for someone to hold your hand, if you will, and help you guide you to finding a good coach, then remember, as I stated before, I am a business coach. I can help you find a coach, and maybe you'll want to work with me. maybe not, but I know plenty of people that you can work with that may align better with your goals for your personal business. You can contact me through the website again, businessquestionsanswered.com, and I'll see what I can do to help you feel better about who you are being coached by. And if you're not sold on coaching, then you're not sold on coaching. Keep on keeping on, keep on looking for information where you can, and hopefully finding information from me on the internet will serve you better than other people.
Question number 2.
Question number 2 comes from Gita, and it reads like this. My family opened a small grocery and sandwich shop in a blighted area of town, keeping a well-known businessman from operating a national chain store right there in the same building that I purchased. He is known for being brutal in business as a winner and a loser, and I believe he is spearheading a campaign with online reviews and weird testimonies to scare us out of business. I might be a little paranoid, but the amount of chatter associated with our store seems overwhelmingly high compared to the foot traffic we see daily. Is there a way to find out for sure who is behind the smear campaign and an ethical way to battle whomever the bully is? Now, anytime someone drops in the paranoid bug, I always jump to questions because I tend to be a bit on the paranoid side when dealing with things. But that also is one thing that helps me in my business life. Something being a bit overly attuned to something going on sometimes alerts me to some change that is coming well ahead of time that I can deal with. Although sometimes it does get in the way and people have to kind of walk me off of ledges. But this question also comes at a very serendipitous time. I'm working on an outline for a personal development podcast, another podcast I work with, that deals with getting ahead of possible bad press when someone may use it to ruin your reputation, having you ready to battle it back, if you will. The motivation behind the need for this in personal development, why it was coming up in the first place, comes to you when you are trying to do a thing, whatever it is, and it impacts an area and it calls for general change in the area, the people and the surrounding group that is there. And someone who doesn't want you to change steps in and does what they can to discredit you if they can't outright stop you in your places, just keep you from doing it. Now, if you're doing a good thing and you want to keep on doing that good thing and they want to keep doing the bad things they're already doing, this can escalate very quickly into something that you cannot manage. But that's a great situation for them with the escalation. It's a no-win situation for you in the battle. So you're doing a thing, or you've done a thing. You've opened this shop in this area, and that is there. And that thing is disrupting the businessman, whether good or bad in the overall situation. He's not getting his way, and that's something that he would like to change. He wants his way back. But remember, he may not be the main source of your pain, because there's always plenty of variables out there that creates thems out there. There's usually more than one them that doesn't want you to do what's going on. And whether they gang up or not to battle you is one thing. You have to know if you're actually battling the group or a singular person. And if you're doing a singular person, it has to be the right one. Or A, your attack is useless, and B, you just make someone else mad and garner them to the favor of the side who are battling on against you. And that's obviously what you don't want to do. So because of this, and because of things like this, you should always have someone with a keen eye actively seeking out what may be said about you, good, bad, or indifferent. Specifically, the bad press. You should always have someone out there checking in your bad press to see what they could possibly say about you, and possible bad press. They can take something out of context based on a different person's perspective or possible perspective. That way, you can battle them back with the right information. If they're throwing out their bad information, you can offer up the right information at those sources, or at the sources that can hopefully come around and get things through where people will see it. Most importantly, you can offer up what's I call a structured mea culpa. That is the right apology to the right people, because maybe what you're doing seems like a great thing, but some sort of consequence coming down the line isn't so great for someone that doesn't necessarily have reason to hate you, but you're still not doing them any favors. So maybe you need to apologize for coming into an area. Maybe there's another group that wanted to use that group for something else that was just as grand. They just lost out on the bid. Maybe it's just that area was supposed to be used for something else altogether, and now it can't be because you are in that space. You'd never really know until you go out there and talk to the people who really are talking about you. So look for the trolls and try to talk to them, see if they're reasonable in going that route. If it really is a campaign that is organized against you, you can usually find out kind of where things are going. The proof may be hard, but if you do find real proof, you can easily send it up to wherever the source of information happens to live and aggregate and come from. If it's something like Yelp, you can always dispute a claim that's out there, and they can track down where it came from and find out whether it might be bogus or maybe it's not. Other groups do that as well. If it's a comment section of some story you put into, go back to the people who wrote the story and see if they can track down where it came from. If it's something that's outlandish and outrageous, they can easily block it if they feel the need to. If they believe it actually makes sense, which is the real problem you may have, then you need to go through the mea culpa thing and figure out what you've done to offend someone and do that. Document where you're seeing these comments, what they are about, and try to send them, the people who own the comment sections, the right words to get things fixed or found out about. And especially if you can figure out if someone's actually doing it, that helps them find a way to get rid of that particular troll. But if not, focus your efforts on doing more good things and documenting all those good things and sharing all those good things as many places, anywhere you can, to as many people who will hear you. Because the good things will eventually outweigh the bad things if they are actually real. You usually have so many other comments that are great to your bad negative comments, assuming you're doing generally good ideas and good work. Because most times you'll have a bad customer that just doesn't get it. And they'll be upset. But if 9 out of 10 of your customers are good, then 9 of your 10 customers will give you a better general review, or at least general outlook to what you're doing, even if they're not as vocal and as obvious as the bad review that wants to get the attention. I'll be back to answer a question revisiting episode 10, asking how can raising your prices actually bring you more customers in just a moment. But first, we take a quick break to thank our sponsor for this week. That is FreshBooks. And the all-new FreshBooks is accounting software that makes running your small business easy, fast, and most importantly, secure. You can spend less time on accounting and more time in doing the work you love by choosing FreshBooks as your accounting software. And you can get started for free with no credit card required. We have a great deal for you at our website. Visit businessquestionsansweredhere.com/FreshBooks or click on the sponsor tabs to find FreshBooks there. And you can get a great deal that gets you started for FreshBooks for free from us.
A question revisited.
This question goes back to episode 10 of Business Questions Answered Here, coming from Candice. Here's how it read. I've been living a dual business life of working as a physical therapist for a small clinic and doing boot camp style group personal training. Being bad at personal finances and taking on a large debt load in the process of learning better habits is what led me to sacrifice time and money to get the personal training certification. I love my job and the support my coworkers have given me, and my schedule is filling up for my boot camps. My problem is the clients I seem to miss out on because of my pricing. I price my services based on what seem like sensible prices for services, knowing that some personal trainers charge people outrageous amounts of money and can't deliver good results. But the people are balking at some of my sales pitches because they expect outrageous prices. Do I need to raise my prices? I don't want to scare away the clients I already have. So this question, of course, we are revisiting from a while back, and having answered a similar question a few weeks ago, this should be an easy answer, but they're not the same question, so I want to revisit two questions this week. One, the question we just reread from Candice from episode 10, and another one we had about 2 weeks ago, revisiting a question from Cass in episode 19. Now, for Candice first, Candice has a perceived value problem. This is where she'd like to attract people willing to pay more money for the same general service she's offering right now. There is nothing magical about a client willing to spend more money on a particular thing, especially in this case, other than the likelihood that that client paying more will show greater appreciation for its worth because they did pay more for the thing. And I originally said she should charge the same as the high-priced trainers who expect that from their clients. So she should look what high-priced trainers are charging and charge that to these new clients because that's what they're looking for. And then make sure there's a fairly simple to execute premium extra to distinguish that from the two different pricing models. Assuming she does not want to lose the other ones, which she said, and she decides to keep that on as a definite tier, she makes sure there's two distinct tiers, that what she's offering for the people paying more is something more, even if it's something simple, something that doesn't seem like it's all that massive, you'd be surprised what little things added on make a thing that's really small look really, really large in the process of growing into it. It's amazing how add-ons can really start to add on to the value, or at least perceived value, of what you're giving out there. So I'm sticking with the original answer when we release this episode, essentially, in what we said. Now, let's go back to Cass from 2 weeks ago. She wanted her sister to raise the prices of her catering services. And the proof of this was the busyness of the business. The business was always booked and didn't have any leeway into extra booking, which usually is a sign that your prices are too low. People are finding you too cheap to resist, and you can raise your prices and not lose out on much customers. In fact, losing some customers is a good thing, because then you have more time in your hands, making more money from less customers. Now, from this one, they had to, of course, justify that by extra customers, extra price, would be less busyness. Plus, in charging more money, you could actually also justify buying higher quality food items for what they're making. She believes that they're making lower quality food for lower quality people, and by buying higher quality food and, of course, paying or allowing people to pay them more money, they can raise the bottom line significantly. So that is where she was. And, of course, we had to remind her in the answer we gave to her that her sister actually owns the business. And that's how she stated in her question. Her sister owned the business. So it's actually up to her to have the final say on whether she wants to go in that direction or not go in that direction. So say Cass's sister actually ultimately wants to push that way. It's up to Cass to kind of help guide the way, since she's seen the vision, and make sure the business actually works out in this case. If her sister does not want to go that route, then it's Cass's job to make sure her sister's bidding is actually being done the way it should be. In hopes it'd probably be some sort of hybrid of the two. Maybe they would try to concentrate on a higher tier of service for people looking for a higher tier of service for their event. And with the reviews they have from the people already buying it, they'd be great. They also have the people that are already customers already in line. Now, if she decided to just go up on prices in general and just go with the whole thing there, what she should do is allow the people who have been with them for a long time, repeat customers from the get-go, to slowly, gradually, piece by piece, time by time, increase the rates to something that is more of a equal market value, because you are going to buy better ingredients for everybody. So the people on the low tier eventually have to pay for that, or they lose money. So if it's all great materials all the time, what you would do is slowly raise the prices for the people on the back end while charging the new people the flat out biggest rate you can from the get-go, because they don't have any reference of where you are and what the difference is. They're going to buy what you have at the rate it is, and they don't know. So, and it's not any way being shady. It's just how you make things work out. Your newer customers, as you're raising your rates, should get the higher prices. Your older customers can be, if things are allowed, slowly raise their prices to a higher level. Or if you really are good with the prices, grandfather them in for something for being loyal and let them ride the whole thing as long as you can make it work out. That's another chance as well. No thought process to that one as well. What you have in both of these cases are a shift in business model if you actually shift the higher price ask in your business, because you are raising your price to get a different clientele, to reach out to people who want to pay more money. But that means you're reaching out to people in a different area, a different group, obviously a different price range. So that does change the process altogether. As we said, Candice should go with the pricey clientele and make the adjustments necessary to accommodate them immediately, adding into that price if necessary, because she may have to add more deals into what they're looking for. Cass should do as her sister wants, but if the price increases are the way it goes, then slowly, gradually bring in the other customers into that higher price range if she wants to keep them as well. Maybe they go to a higher price range and just immediately abandon the people on the lower range. That's a choice as well, but it also is a choice. It's something that has to work out, and has to work out in a actual meaningful sense for anyone running their business. You can't just run your business without any sort of thought process. You have to have some sort of plan in place to know where you are going. And those are our 3 questions for this week. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Make sure you subscribe using your favorite podcast app or service to ensure you never miss a new episode. Submit a question to us or just send general comments by going to our website, businessquestionsansweredhere.com. For more information on my other projects, visit my main website, jclevelandpayne.net. And of course, I'll be back real soon with even more business questions answered here.